Hey guys, thank you very much for watching Laptop Nuts. So today we're going to be taking apart HP 15BS series laptop. We're going to go a little bit more into actual details of disassembly, some troubleshooting and possible upgrades. Give us thumbs up, subscribe, as many more very interesting videos coming soon. As a suggestion, at any big box store you would be able to find microelectronic toolkit, which will contain few bits, screwdriver, tweezers, pry tool, pliers. Most common bit as we will be using is a Phillips number 1. We will begin from flipping laptop over and pull the battery out. In our particular case, the battery located externally, so it's very easy to pull. On most newer laptops, the batteries are located inside of the unit, so you would have to pull the bottom case out in order to pull the battery. The next step, I will take a second and would locate the screws, as some of them might be located under the rubber feet, under the battery, or some of them might even be under the DVD drive. So this particular screw, it's actually holding the DVD drive. So you can actually, once you pull the screw out, you can pull and inspect to make sure that there is no screws here and nothing is holding the bottom case, nothing is attaching to the Palmrest. So here we pulled all the visible screws out. However, most likely there is more screws are hiding under those rubber feet. So it's always a good idea, just in case, pull them out. Here's another one. Most of the time those rubber feet are they being glued with a double-sided tape, so you might need to retape them, or also if you carefully will pull it out, normally it's just gonna snip back in very easy and will hold very well. Okay, so now we pulled all the screws out, everything is ready to go. So what I like to do is to start from any corner and use the pry tool and try to snap the, and separate the Palmrest from the bottom case. So I just want you to make sure that you go very carefully so you don't damage any parts on the Palmrest. Alright, so we pulled the bottom case out and now we can see all internals. So we'll go over with all internal parts of this particular model. So there would be a hard drive, USB ports, there's 2 speakers, the actual motherboard, the heatsink, the CPU cooling fan, Wi-Fi card, memory RAM. Over here you can see that there is actual slot for SSD drive, and this is pretty basic model, so it didn't come, but on laptops with higher processor types such as Core i5, Core i7, the SSD drive is pretty common. As well as you can see, it's factory pre-made for dedicated graphic card. In this particular case it's not present, but there are options for the similar motherboard, because the base for the motherboard is the same, where the actual processor could be different, or there will be an option either with a graphics card or without. So in particular, if you have an issue with the Wi-Fi card, all what you basically need to do is to, I will try to zoom it in here. There are two Wi-Fi antennas which snaps are super easy. And we will use our number 1 bit Phillips in order to pull it out, and there would be the Wi-Fi card. Again, there are many different models might fit to this particular laptop. However, if you are replacing the Wi-Fi card with a different drive, the laptop might not recognize it, so you might have to go and download and install drivers for the Wi-Fi manually. So a lot of cases where DC jack might get damaged. So what you would need to do is you would need to pull those cables out here. This is the video cable. We're gonna put it aside here, and there would be our actual DC jack socket. So I will highly advise you never pull the cables by the actual cable. You can use either tweezers. However, what I like to do is, because it's nothing better than your hands, where you can just use your nail fingers and just kind of try to yank it out slowly, and it just pulls so easy. Because with the tweezers you don't feel it as good as your hands, so you might possibly damage the actual cable, or even the worst case, you might damage the connector. So there's one more screw to pull. Can put the CPU fan aside. Now the hinge is completely detached, and what I like to do is I like to just open the laptop like so and close it so that the hinge is easier to pull. And here's the DC jack. This machine is pre-made to have SSD drive. Here's the screw mount in order to hold it. Again, this is a basic Intel Pentium processor, so it didn't come with that as it's optional. But in most of the cases with a higher grade machine, you would be able to see the SSD, or if you have a pretty simple machine, you can actually pull this drive, or you can keep it for like a storage or a backup, and you can add SSD here and install it so you have both of them running on your machine as well. If you need to replace your USB port in case, and it's pretty common issue, they get damaged. So all what you need to do is you need to pull that speaker out and unsnap. Your USB port is being connected through the ribbon here to the motherboard, like so here. Again, what you do is you use your finger, or whichever is more comfortable. Again, I'm more comfortable with the finger, but you can use tweezers or pry tool. So here's the USB board here with a SD card. Here's a power button. So if in case it fails, you know where it's located, how it looks like, and how to replace it. So it's very, very easy. So here we have the video cable. So we gently will pull that tape And again, I will use my 2 fingers to slide the video cable carefully. So we have, that's the DVD drive connector, and there's a keyboard connector. Slides out very easy. So here we have our touchpad buttons. So in case if the touchpad fails, you would need to replace this board over here. Here are the speakers and the connection. So it's kind of hard to get here with my nails, so I will use the tweezers and gently yank it out like so. So here's our motherboard, and there are a few screws that holding it on the Palmrest. So here's our motherboard. So we have HDMI port, VLAN, 2 USB ports here, the CPU processor, the CMOS battery, so pretty much even at different configuration the board will look very, very similar. So now all what we have is just to pull 3 more screws from the hinge, and we would be able to remove the actual Palmrest. Like so. And here you go. So again, as you can see, if your keyboard or touchpad gets damaged, there is no way you would be able to replace it, and it's very because everything is kind of soldered here and glued. So the best bet would be to replace the complete unit, unless if your touch button fail, there will be an option to pull this board out here, this particular board, and replace it, as well as speakers. So here's our assembly, and the assembly is actually being pulled very easy, so there is no screws involved here. So it's just a plastic bezel which is being snapped. So all what you do is just kind of carefully just pull as you go. Sometimes you got to be careful on this edge here. They will apply a strip, double-sided strip, which glues bezel to the screen. So you want to make sure that you go very, very gently, and by pulling it to make sure that you will not damage the actual matrix. So here's that double-sided tape here. So that's the bezel, if in case you need to replace it. And here's the actual LED screen, and there are a few screws that are holding it on the back cover. It will be this one here. There will be this one here, this one, and this one. So the screen should come off really, really easy. Be very careful, as you have a very delicate video cable, As you can see here, it has the, I'm gonna zoom it in. It has a tape, so you want to make sure that you very gently pull the tape out, and then the connector will slide in super easy. So here's the actual LED screen. So if in case you need to replace the screen, you don't want to replace your back cover or bezel, you can always look into this particular model right here, NT156WHM-N32. Make sure it matches with your replacement. It's very important because if you buy a similar screen but with a different model number, the actual connection might be different, or placement of that connection might be different. So in here we have our back cover with a video cable. Here we have the antenna cables, which are catching your Wi-Fi signal. The actual LCD hinges. Here you go. If you guys have any more questions, please send us more comments. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.